them all what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're jumping straight into Chelsea's recent UEFA Conference League action today, specifically that quarterfinals second leg against Legia Warsaw.
Yep, the one at Stamford Bridge.
Exactly. You sent us a BBC Sport article on it, so that's our source material for this deep dive. Our mission, as always, is to pull out more than just the scoreline. We want the key info, the insights, what it all really means.
Get under the surface a bit.
Yeah. You mentioned wanting that quick but thorough understanding, and that's what we aim for. So let's get into it. Chelsea are through, but it wasn't straightforward, was it?
That's right. They actually lost the second leg at home, 1-2 to Legia Warsaw.
Oh, okay. But they still went through.
Yeah, they did. Thanks to the first leg, really. They won that one 3-0 over in Poland, so the final aggregate score was 4-2 to Chelsea.
Okay. So that first leg performance was absolutely vital then.
Totally crucial. Without that cushion, well, it would have been a very different story.
So despite winning the tie, maybe a few nervy moments for the fans at the Bridge.
Definitely seemed like it. But, bottom line, they're into the semifinals of the Europa Conference League.
And who might they face next, does the report say?
At the time the article was written, their opponents were still being decided. It was going to be either Rapid Vienna or Djurgården. Their match had gone into extra time.
Right, so still up in the air then. Okay, so Chelsea avoided a major upset, but let's focus on that second leg. What were the big moments?
Well, Legia actually started really brightly. They got an early lead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a penalty in the 10th minute. Thomas Peckhardt scored it.
A penalty conceded by Chelsea.
Yeah, and it sounds like a bit of a tough one for the keeper, Philip Jorgensen. He apparently conceded the foul.
Right.
And then, even though he guessed the right way for the penalty, the shot sort of slipped through his gloves.
Oof. Not ideal for Jorgensen. Must have given Legia a real boost, though.
Oh, for sure. But Chelsea did respond, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Marc Cucurella got the equalizer.
The defender again.
I know. It was in the 33rd minute, and Jadon Sancho provided the assist.
Sancho seems to be linking up play well. Didn't he get assists in the first leg, too?
He did, yeah. Set up Madueke twice, apparently. So Cucurella, the left back, popping up with a goal.
And he nearly had another one just before the break.
Correct. He put the ball in the net again, but VAR stepped in.
VAR.
Offside.
Yep, ruled out for offside. So 1-1 at halftime.
But Legia weren't done, right? They scored again.
They did indeed. Early in the second half, around the 53rd minute, Steve Capuati.
Capuati, okay. How did that one go in? A header from close range. Claude Gonzalez got the assist for that one.
So 2-1 to Legia on the night. They really made a fight of it.
Absolutely. Shows they weren't just there to, make up the numbers.
Did Chelsea have chances to level it again later on?
Yeah, the report mentions a couple of substitutes, Noni Madueke and Tyreek George. Both had opportunities.
Okay.
And mirroring Cucurella earlier, young Tyreek George also had a goal disallowed for offside late on.
Wow, 2 disallowed goals for Chelsea. Frustrating. Must have been. So, yeah, they got through on aggregate, but the second leg itself was pretty eventful. And maybe not in the way Chelsea fans hoped.
It definitely sounds like the performance itself wasn't quite up to scratch. Even with qualifications secured, the BBC article seemed quite critical.
Yeah, it didn't mince words. Described the performance as disappointing and below par.
Right.
And, quite tellingly, the team was apparently booed off by some of their own fans at full time.
Booed off after qualifying? That's pretty strong.
It tells you something, doesn't it? About the expectations and maybe the quality of the football on display that night.
Suggests the fans weren't happy at all. And the report flags concerns about the attack specifically, right? Goals drying up.
Exactly. That seems to be a major theme. The forwards are really misfiring.
Like who?
Well, Cole Palmer, who's usually so key for them. His goal drought stretched to 15 matches, apparently. He started the game, too.
15!
Wow. Nicholas Jackson, he got subbed off at halftime in this one. Hasn't scored in 12 games. And Christopher Nkunku, who also started, he's still looking for his first goal after 8 appearances.
That's quite something. Across all the main attackers.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to Cucurella, the left back. The article points out this slightly bizarre stat that he's actually their top scorer since December 15th.
A defender. That really does highlight the problem up front, doesn't it?
That absolutely does. I mean, for a club like Chelsea, relying on your left back for goals over that kind of period, points to a real lack of cutting edge, maybe confidence, too, in that final third.
Yeah, a big worry for the manager, Enzo Maresca. And you mentioned the keeper, Jorgensen, earlier, too. His error for the penalty plus conceding twice from 5 shots on target. Is he under pressure?
Seems like it. The report uses the phrase question marks over him after this game.
Okay.
That penalty incident, conceding it and then letting it slip through. It's the kind of thing that raises doubt. So the article explicitly says Maresca has serious thinking to do about the goalkeeper spot.
Interesting. Let's flip it to Legia Warsaw for a second. They must have taken a lot of heart from that performance, even going out.
Oh, definitely. They give a really good account of themselves at Stamford Bridge. The report mentions their traveling fans, over 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Apparently they're making plenty of noise, especially when Peckhardt scored that early penalty.
Good support.
And Peckhardt himself, the goal scorer, he was actually voted player of the match by the BBC Sport users. Got an average rating of 6.22.
So he clearly had a big impact beyond just the goal.
Seems so. Captained the side, too.
It's quite interesting that Maresca started so many of his big names, Palmer, Jackson, Sancho, Nkunku, despite having that 3-goal lead from the first leg.
Yeah, that's a good point. You might have expected more rotation.
Maybe trying to play them into some form, give them a chance to get those goals.
That's a very likely reason, isn't it? Trying to use the game, even with the cushion, to build confidence and sharpness, especially for those forwards ahead of some big games coming up.
Makes sense. And looking ahead, this competition is pretty important for Chelsea, isn't it? The Conference League.
It is. Winning it guarantees a spot in the Europa League for next season, which is, a significant prize.
Right, a guaranteed European spot.
Plus, the report reminds us they could still get into the Champions League if they finish in the Premier League's top 5. So, multiple avenues open.
Okay. And if they get past the semis, who might they face in the final?
The other semifinal involves Real Betis and Fiorentina. So one of them would be the potential opponent in the final.
Which is in Wrocław on May 28.
Correct. But, as the article stresses, Chelsea are going to need to find a higher level of performance than this if they actually want to lift that trophy.
Yeah, this display doesn't exactly scream champions-elect. What about the match stats? Do they shed any more light? Sometimes they tell a different story.
They do paint an interesting picture here. Chelsea absolutely dominated possession, like over 70%.
70%, wow.
Yeah, 70.2% to Legia's 29.8%. And Chelsea had more shots, too. 16 versus 13 for Legia. More on target as well, 8 shots to 5.
So statistically, Chelsea looked dominant, but they lost 2-1.
Exactly. It shows possession isn't everything, doesn't it? It's about what you do with it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Legia made significantly more clearances, 15 to Chelsea's 8.
Suggests Legia were maybe defending their box more effectively when under pressure.
Could well be. They absorbed the pressure, perhaps, and were more clinical when they got their chances. So that classic possession versus end product debate.
What about the team's overall form coming into this and league positions?
Well, the report mentions Chelsea were sitting much higher in the Premier League than Legia were in the Polish Ekstraklasa at the time.
Okay.
And form-wise, leading up to this second leg, Chelsea had been on a good run described as WWWDW.
Pretty consistent.
Whereas Legia's recent form was WWWLL. So they'd actually lost their previous 2 matches before coming to Stamford Bridge.
Interesting context. And just quickly, any other key lineup details or substitutions worth mentioning?
Well, we've covered the main players involved in the goals. Cucurella, Peckhardt, Capuati scoring, Sancho and Gonçalves with assists.
Right.
Captains were Reece James for Chelsea and Peckhardt for Legia. In terms of subs, Jackson coming off at halftime for Tyreek George was probably the most notable early change for Chelsea.
Yeah, maybe tactical, maybe performance-related.
Could be either. Later on, Madueke came on, Pedro Neto too, presumably to add some spark. Legia's subs seemed more focused on seeing the game out.
Got it. And the officials, just for completeness.
The referee was Alejandro Jose Hernandez, a Spanish official, and the VAR was Guillermo Cuadra Fernandez.
Okay, thanks. So let's try and wrap this up. The big picture for you listening. Chelsea are through to the Conference League semis. That's the objective achieved.
Mission accomplished on that front, yes.
And it's a significant but, isn't it? They got there by losing the home leg 2-1 to Legia Warsaw, and the performance sounded, well, pretty concerning.
Yeah, that's the paradox. Progression, but alongside a performance that raised more questions than answers, particularly about their attack.
Those attacking struggles are really the key takeaway, it seems. Palmer, Jackson, and Nkunku all struggling for goals. Cucurella being their main scorer recently.
It's a major headache for Maresca. Loads of possession, plenty of shots on paper in this game, but no cutting edge, maybe lacking that bit of confidence in front of goal.
And they'll need to find that edge quickly, won't they, with potentially tougher tests ahead in the semis, Rapid Vienna or Djurgården.
And then potentially Betis or Fiorentina if they make the final.
Yeah.
They can't afford many more performances like this one if they want to win the whole thing.
Absolutely. Which brings us to a final thought for you to ponder. Given these attacking problems, which seem quite persistent despite their league position and that comfortable first leg win, what are the deeper issues Enzo Maresca needs to tackle? Is it tactics, confidence, personnel? What needs to change for Chelsea to really click and secure success, not just in Europe, but also in the Premier League run-in?
It's a big question facing them for the rest of the season.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.